to the fourth Lunch and Learn, newly established for this year's Partners in Giving campaign. We're so glad you can join us today. Partners in Giving is currently celebrating our 50th anniversary. That's 50 years of caring, so your support this year is truly appreciated. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. Please make sure your microphones are muted during the presentations, and there will be time for Q&A at the end where you can either raise your hand and we will call on you, or you can use the chat function and we will read them to our speakers. So now on to the session. This week's focus topic is mental wellness, and we have two presenters from two charities with us today. The first is Sarah Lowy, Manager of Strategic Partnerships team at AmeriCares. AmeriCares is an organization whose mission is to save lives and improve health for people affected by poverty or disaster so they can reach their full potential. After Sarah, we will hear from Sarah Bass, the Executive Director of Pathways of Wisconsin. Pathways of Wisconsin is a nonprofit vocational agency dedicated to providing person-centered quality services to adults living with developmental disabilities in the Madison area. Pathways Wisconsin is a part of the Access Community Service Organization. And with that, I will hand it over to Sarah Lowy.
Thank you, Kristen. As Kristen said, my name is Sarah Lowy, and I work on the Strategic Partnerships team at AmeriCares. I'm so pleased to be with you today to share with you a little bit about what we do. So I'm going to share my screen and we can get started. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep, you're good.
Perfect, thank you. So in an effort to show rather than tell you about our mental health work, I plan to share two videos today. So we're going to start with this short one that provides kind of an overview of our work for context.
AmeriCares saves lives and improves health for people affected by poverty or disaster so they can achieve their full potential. AmeriCares invests in local health centers. When local health centers thrive, so do people in their communities, with better health, more opportunities, and increasingly productive lives. AmeriCares programs help communities prepare for, respond to, and recover from disasters. Increase access to critical medicine and medical supplies. Improve and expand clinical services. Prevent disease and promote good health in vulnerable communities. More than 98% of our resources support health programs. $10 donated can provide $200 in aid. AmeriCares. Health is on the way.
So that provides a good overview of our work as a whole, but obviously today we're focusing on mental health. So as you may know, mental health and substance use disorders are a leading cause of the global burden of disease. And at AmeriCares, we understand that mental health is just as important as physical health. For 20 years, we've been working in communities around the world to improve mental health and to prevent mental health illness among health workers and individuals. We do this by increasing access to high-quality mental health services and programs where there are none. We do this in several ways. By providing millions of dollars worth of mental health and behavioral health medicines and supplies to partners that are serving patients in dozens of countries around the world. By integrating mental health throughout ongoing programming and clinical services, including addressing the long-term impacts of COVID-19, and mental health preparedness into emergency responses. And I'll share an example of the emergency response work as it ties into mental health in just a few minutes. We also do this by prioritizing mental health programming that identifies and addresses gaps in equitable access, quality, and experience with care. An example of this is the addition of mental health services to our mobile health center program for 130 low-income communities in Mumbai, India. We also do this by training health workers in local health centers on assessment, simple care, and referral through a train-the-trainer approach to scale impact. Additionally, we generate evidence on the effectiveness of mental health interventions and contribute to the global knowledge base. An example of this is a published study that found integrating mental health services into non-communicable disease prevention programs reduced the risk of cardiovascular disease among Syrian refugees and host populations in Jordan. And lastly, we support frontline health workers who work with disaster-prone and poverty-affected communities by training them in both disaster risk reduction and mental health and psychological first aid. In this photo that you see here, Sarah is, not me, different Sarah, is talking with a child in Colombia using a puppet as a therapeutic tool. And now I'd like to move forward and share with you one more video to see how we've integrated mental health into our emergency response work. This one's a little longer, but it's really, I think you'll find it really interesting and really compelling.
In 2017, Hurricane Maria battered Puerto Rico with 37 inches of rain and destructive winds as high as 155 miles per hour. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives. Such a storm would stun most states or territories, but Puerto Rico was especially fragile. Decades of underinvestment left the island vulnerable. Almost 5 years to the day after Maria, Hurricane Fiona drenched the island with record rains and high winds. For many Puerto Ricans, Fiona brought back memories of the day Maria came ashore.
Oh, yeah.
Fueron momentos bien difíciles que todos los vivimos.
I just realized that the subtitles are not present. So give me 1 second. I'm going to try to pull up the video in YouTube. Sorry about that.
Todos los vivimos.
There we go.
Saliendo a las ventanas, se las está llevando el viento. Y tú dices, Dios mío, Señor Dios. Y tú no tienes cómo defenderte, nada más que encerrarte en un área donde tú entiendas que no te va a ocurrir nada.
Maria shattered Puerto Rico's electrical grid, cutting off power and communications for weeks. Roads were blocked by landslides and downed trees. Health centers were flooded, filled with water and mud. Medicine and equipment were destroyed. Americans made a commitment in that moment to restore and strengthen Puerto Rico's health systems, including the island's greatest resource, its people. In the years following Maria, Americans put in place a team of Puerto Ricans who are experts in emergency response and public health and their own communities. This team is on the front lines and has strengthened health services across the island, including mental health.
Para darte un ejemplo, en el 2007, durante el huracán María, hubo un aumento del 29% en casos de suicidio. Hemos visto un aumento en depresión, ansiedad, ataques de pánico, estrés postraumático.
America's Puerto Rico team works alongside health centers, first responders, and the government, bringing health programs that include preparedness for emergencies, storms, electrical outages, and more.
We have worked really hard with our partners to make sure that they have adequate emergency response plans. Plans that are not just a huge binder sitting somewhere on a desk, somebody's desk, but what we have worked is make it digestible. Simplify it to a point where people can actually respond. So at the time of a response, everybody knows what to do.
With support from Americans, health centers are ready to respond when disaster strikes. In 2020, hundreds of earthquakes shook Puerto Rico for weeks. People slept outside to avoid being trapped should another quake hit, but they couldn't escape the stress. America's teams were on the ground, helping survivors cope.
Estaba en uno de los refugios y me llaman y me indican que hay un paciente mayor de 60 años con ideación suicida. En ese momento, los primeros días, nosotros fuimos los únicos, ¿verdad?, que estábamos proveyendo servicios de salud, y salud física y salud conductual en el epicentro. ese paciente sigue con nosotros y sigue recibiendo servicios de salud conductual. Y yo creo que es el solo hecho de tener el poder de poder salvar vidas es algo que me llena grandemente.
When Puerto Rico was in the eye of yet another catastrophic storm, Hurricane Fiona, our team in San Juan was there once again to support health clinics flooded by more than 2 feet of rain in 24 hours. AmeriCares brings the resources Puerto Rico needs for a better future. Over the past 5 years, AmeriCares has provided Puerto Rico with medicine, medical supplies, and health programs valued at $15 million. This includes training for more than 38,000 health workers, first responders, teachers, and community leaders, and more than a dozen health programs. AmeriCares is building capacity and resilience by investing in health centers and Puerto Rico's greatest resource, its people.
What I've seen here is how strong people can be, how they forge on, their pride. It's that ability to face on the challenges and make the best out of the situation.
Puerto Rico is stronger and better prepared for disasters. With your help, shared hope, and working together, our actions for a brighter future.
So I'm going to stop sharing there. I hope that that was able to provide you with a bit of context about both our mental health work in the face of emergencies, but also a little bit about emergency response work. So just for context, following both Hurricanes Fiona and Hurricane Ian, we met immediate needs on the ground after the hurricanes, but then continue to be supporting the communities with mental health work now. So mental health work is kind of integrated into really all of our work. So I hope that that provides you a little bit of context around our mental health work. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but I'll pass it on to Sarah Bass.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay. All right, I was frozen for a second there. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Bass. I'm the Executive Director at Pathways of Wisconsin. I'm also here on behalf of Access to Community Services. So I'm going to share my screen to talk about Access to the Community Services organization and share who is part of that and why they're important to mental wellness today. So let me just share my screen. Let's see, this one. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? Okay. Let's see if I can get my mouse over there. Okay, great. So Access to Community Services is a group of organizations working together to help people with disabilities and other challenges like mental health to live, work, play, and succeed in our community. So what is ACS? We're a bunch of different organizations. So we have Special Olympics in our group, Goodwill of South Central Wisconsin, Wisconsin Badger Camp, Pathways of Wisconsin, who I'm here for today, Arts for All, and Love Inc. and Avenues to Community Services. So I'm going to go through each of them and kind of highlight who they are, and then I'll talk more about Pathways of Wisconsin. So Avenues to Community Services, they ensure people with disabilities have the opportunity to lead self-determined lives. Goodwill of South Central Wisconsin, their mission is to help people achieve the highest level of independence through the power of work. You might also be familiar with their stores around Wisconsin. Arts for All in Wisconsin, they provide an opportunity for people with disabilities to express themselves and expand the capabilities, confidence, and quality of life to children and adults with disabilities by providing programs in the arts. Wisconsin Badger Camp provides a natural environment where individuals with developmental disabilities can learn about their surroundings and realize their full potential by, through a group of living experiences. Campers develop friendship and expand their social skills. I'm still getting over a cold. And then Special Olympics, they provide year-round sports training and athletic competition in a variety of Olympic type sports for children, adults with cognitive disabilities, giving them continuing opportunities to develop physical fitness, demonstrate courage, experience joy, and participate in the sharing of gifts, skills, and friendship with their families, other Special Olympics athletes, and their community. And then I'm going to talk about Pathways of Wisconsin, which is my organization. We are a vocational and day service agency located in Madison, and we're dedicated to providing person-centered quality services to adults living with developmental disabilities. The pictures I wanted to talk a little bit about too. This is someone that we support working at Dunkin' Donuts. And this is a picture of a gentleman riding a bike that has never ridden a bike before coming to Pathways. So this is kind of how we provide the mental wellness for people with disabilities. We find what they're interested in and work with them to find the jobs that make them happy. So these two are very happy doing the activities. And then we also provide life enrichment and daily living skills. So a lot of the donations that we get through access to community services, we provide these tools like sensory objects and life enrichment. Here we have an individual with a firefighter, and we're working with people on daily living skills like cooking, and also playing games and stretching and yoga. Physical fitness is very important to a lot of people with disabilities, and it's great for mental wellness as well. So when you're thinking about giving, please remember all of our access to community services providers. So again, this is all of the people that are in our group. We are in the Madison and South Central area of Wisconsin. And you may be familiar with Pathways. We do have some people that work in state buildings throughout Madison. And so when you give to us, we give to them, and they give to us as well. And that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah and Sarah, for sharing all the inspiring things your organizations are providing our community. We will now open it up for any questions. You can either raise your hand and unmute yourself and I can call on you, or you can type them into chat and I will read them. Give everyone just another minute here to think of any last questions. Not seeing any hands or questions come through. Again, I want to thank Sarah and Sarah for joining us today and sharing all of the things in which you're assisting our community members in the area of mental wellness. And I want to thank you all for attending today's session and hope you can tune in next week. Our next Lunch and Learn will be Tuesday, November 8th from 12 to 12:30 with the focus topic being veteran services. And also just a friendly reminder that donating through Partners in Giving is super easy and you can choose your charity. There are over 500 to choose from and many payment methods, one in which includes the option for payroll deduction. So again, I'd like to thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.